Cuckoo, cuckoo, what it do? Welcome back to the Silent Retreat Experience. Today is day 7, the final day of the retreat. And I'm gonna admit, I was very sad on this day. I didn't want to leave. I had such a beautiful experience, and I could have went longer. So what I'm gonna do for you guys is just break down some of the things that I learned while I was there, and explain, a little bit more about the retreat itself. So on Sunday morning, we woke up at 7 like always to the beautiful sound bowl. We all met at 7:45, but instead of doing our breath work individually, our teacher Alex met us there and he guided us through our 15 minutes of breath work. And then he explained to us how we were going to break our silence. So we did a group meditation and then we broke our silence in our own fashion. So we made these particular sounds that he guided us through, one on an inhale, one on an exhale, and one to the tip of the release. And it was just so beautiful when we all did it simultaneously. It almost sounded like a harmony, like we were singing or we were humming a song together. So that's how we broke our silence in unison through sound, and it sounded so pretty, and it felt weird to make noise. After he was like, does anybody have any questions, because he talked us through it, and we were allowed to talk in this moment, and I feel like everybody was like and even when we were able to talk, it was kind of weird. Like for the next 3 days I felt like, am I supposed to be talking? Every time I would say anything out loud, I'd be like to myself, like, am I supposed to be talking? But we did that. We broke our silence together, and then he gave us a couple books. The one I wrote down is Free Will by Sam Harris, I think the last name is. The author's name is Sam. It's called Free Will. And that will be explaining more about the idea that we don't have choice, that we don't have free will. I think that will help a lot of you kind of conceptualize and break down that, because I'm going to buy the book. It was the most thing that I found, it was the thing I found most challenging, that we learned that we don't have choice, because I identified so much with my choice to be sober, my choice to move to Houston, my choice to move to Thailand. So the idea that I didn't choose any of these things was like, ooh, I don't know. I choose to drink coffee or tea. So it's called Free Will. So check that book out if you're interested. I wanted to tell you guys that the practices that we were learning are called tantric practices. So all the philosophy, everything that we learn, the meditation practices and stuff like that, are a form of the tantric practices. And the retreat itself was called Vikasa. It's in Koh Samui, Thailand. I always call it Koh Samui. Koh Samui, that's my name for it, but it's Koh Samui, Thailand. And what else? I had some other stuff for you guys. Oh, so I'm gonna give you guys the questions that I had when I went in and the answers to every single one of them, at least how I understood them. So after the meditation and the silence breaker, we got to ask him any questions. He gave us some books that he recommended, Free Will being one of them, and then we went to brunch. We got to talk with one another, and that was the most beautiful thing, getting to hear everybody else's experiences, how their questions were answered or not answered, and just how they found the entire process. I got to talk to a few of the individuals in the class before we went silent, so I was eager to talk to them after. So when we had breakfast together, it was nice, and we all exchanged Instagrams and contacts, and I'm just grateful to be in the room with so many like-minded individuals on this path of healing and true discovery of self. I was meant to be there when I went. I was supposed to go to a silent retreat back on my birthday in June. It didn't end up working how it was supposed to. So I'm firm in believing that everything happens when it's supposed to. Not when you want it to, but when it should. But yeah, let's get into these questions. So my 3 questions coming into the silent retreat is, who am I? Did I choose this particular experience? And what is my purpose? So I'll start with the first question. We've already discussed this multiple times. I'm going to give you guys a recap. Who am I? And we discovered that all of us are the same thing, a divine consciousness or soul experiencing a human body and mind. I am the God of my own experience, the one who casts the most judgment on me, creating my own heaven and hell through what I choose to give power to. I've always said that I don't believe that heaven is a place that we go when we pass away, but I believe that heaven and hell are the capacity in which we allow ourselves to feel joy while we are living in this experience. When you repeat the same stories, the same patterns, the same behaviors, the same negative mindsets, you're living in a constant world of hell. But when you learn to release that and connect with your true consciousness, your true self, the love that's within you, you start to create heaven from the inside out and spread that to others. And the more of us that have that light that we're spreading, the more heavenly earth becomes. Number 2 was, did I, my soul, choose this particular experience? Because I was like, why would I choose this? All these foster homes, abusive mother, inconsistent father. Why would I choose this? You know, because they say you have a soul contract. And it says our experiences are the karma of our conditioning and the stories we choose to believe as we become more estranged from our natural state of self. So we learn that basically you don't choose this, but how they explain like reincarnation is that like you carry pieces of consciousness from your past life. And if that pieces has karma, then you relive those things. But also your life is a conditioning of your childhood. So yes, my soul did not choose to have an abusive mother, but the patterns that I repeated after were, you know, my karma for believing that was all I deserved, for believing that was the life that I was going to forever live. So that's why I continue to show up in my life. So I guess long story short is yes and no. You don't choose a particular experience, but there's parts of you left over from the consciousness of your past life, which is still is deep. It's deep. I'm still learning to break all this stuff down, but that's what I took from it. If you guys got more questions, maybe I'm not explaining it well, feel free to comment. And question number 3, the most important question was, what is my purpose? Should I pursue my poetry, my podcast, or content? And the answer that I got for this was, our purpose is to remember who we are at our natural essence, which is peace, stillness, and unconditional love, free of judgment of ourselves and others. Once we do that, our purpose is to share it with the world, free of conditions and free of desiring of something in return. Just do it out of love. Love is a frequency of abundance, so it will flow. And then after I asked, I'm like, yo, Alex, like I'm torn. Should I pour into this, that? And he basically just broke it down for me. Like, it's not bad to have goals and dreams and pour into particular things, but you can't be attached to the outcome, right? Your job is to find the love that's within yourself. It's all of our responsibility. And spread that love and unconditional light to others. Give the peace that you find within yourself to the world so others can find it within them. And however you choose to do so, it really doesn't matter. So whether it's my poetry, my podcast, my content, I don't have to dial in or focus on just one. Whichever path I'm supposed to be on is going to be the one that shines. And that kind of gave me some peace, because now I don't have to like stress about, oh, should I be working harder on my poetry? Should I be working harder on my podcast? I love them all, so I can just do what I love and trust that the universe will align whichever one is supposed to stand out in that way. But yeah, so that was pretty much it. After that, we had breakfast, and then after breakfast, I caught a cab and went to the resort that I was going to be staying at for the next week to kind of conceptualize and break down everything that I learned. And we're here about 2 weeks later almost, and it's one of the best decisions next to getting sober that I ever made. They have similar silent retreat type things at Buddhist temples. I think they call it I don't want to say it wrong, Vipassana or Vipsana. They're free. You got to do work in exchange and donation base. So you'll have to sweep the floors or whatever. Everybody has a chore, but you're sitting for 10 hours of a day. They feed you. And it's similar. It's a little bit less lenient than the one that we went to. It's 5, 7, 10 days from the research that I've done. I'm thinking about doing one myself because, like I said, I could have gone longer. But there's free options if you can't afford to go to a paid retreat. Just look into Buddhist temples in your area. Most of them offer the service. Or just go up there and see. I think that it was healing. It was freeing. And it was just extremely educational. So I recommend everybody give it a try. And thank you guys for coming on this journey with me. I love you, and I hope that this was informative. Have a beautiful day.